Look at that. Clifford Starks in the
I don't
house,
know how it
baby.
declined the first time, but apparently it did.
Oh, this is awesome. Though, see, everything works out as it's supposed to, right?
Absolutely.
In the time frame that it's supposed. We don't even have any reverberation or any backfeed. This, okay. Yeah, what an awesome night. Okay, so thank you for joining me. What I did is I went ahead and shared it on my feed, and I might be able to share it on your timeline as well. Just share to a page. I could do. Let's see if I can do that too. Oh, that's not way.
What's up, Princeton? What's up, Pepper? And Kristen.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll just shut that down. I'll be able to see be able to see the comments. There's all these crazy tools out there. I mean, I got to show you some of this stuff too, Clifford. That you can broadcast over. I want to say it's Zulu. You can broadcast over Instagram and
Yeah.
YouTube simultaneously, and it works really well. But I've been doing these Facebook
Crazy.
lives on Live Masters with Live Masters and Live Masters TV now for I guess since I met Mike Chavez. So thank you, Mike Chavez, for Live Masters and for Live Masters TV, which is a group that you're gonna have to get in on the inside on Live Masters.
Yeah, most definitely.
So thank you all for showing up. As you guys pop in, let us know where you're coming in from. And my name's Rick Ely. I'm the Breath of Eli, and I'm here with Clifford Starks, who is he's a world champion MMA fighter. He's a fitness coach and a life coach. And when we first connected, I was completely, totally intrigued because you use the words unconditional love. And when you think an MMA fighter and unconditional love, right? I mean, you think Mike Tyson, unconditional love? MMA,
Yeah.
and so I'm really, you joined me the other day on Direct from Source Masterclass with Brandon Bozarth and Blake Irwin. You answered the call to that. You came in. You actually added some significant value there at the end of the class. Pipe it up.
Much
I was
appreciated.
grateful. Yeah, and I haven't known you for very long. I've just been like, the only way I've gotten to know you is through the brief conversations that we've had. The YouTube videos you have, because you actually do. You have a YouTube channel. You've got quite a following so far, and you've been doing this for some time. You just have not mastered promoting yourself, which is just fine. It's
not at all.
Somebody said, who was it? Somebody in your feed just said humble and a beast. Efren said humble beast. That's you, the humble beast. Hey, Paris.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah, we're definitely, we got started a little early. We wanted to make sure we got all the technical difficulties out of the way, and thank you for joining me, Clifford. I'm honored.
Definitely.
So how did you get started, number one? How did you get started in MMA?
So I had graduated from ASU in kinesiology, and I started with personal training. And I'm never going to stop. I like challenges. Challenges, they kind of ignite me. They light a fire under me, and they make me want to do that much more and try for things that much bigger. So I thought, what better challenge than to try and fight someone my own size and on live TV. So I gave it a try. I wanted to see if I was any good at it, and I happened to be good at it. And I continued to train and grow and learn, and the rest is kind of history with that. It was just one extra notch that I could put in my belt of challenges that I could accept, because I missed the competition, especially coming from a wrestling background. It's just, it sticks with you after a while. And it was a heck of an experience to go out there and honestly challenge some of those fears that you deal with, because you're walking down the cage and you're seeing tons of people, and you talk about public speaking being scary. Like, public speaking's nothing compared to fighting, for me at least personally, because one, you can get punched in the face, you can get knocked out, and you're doing that with everybody watching. And when you can get through something like that, the sky really becomes the limit. It becomes something that you just go after, you attempt to see what you can do, and if you fall flat on your face, because you just might, you shake it off and you go out and do it again.
Hmm. I've failed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. I've failed a lot. I've had a lot of successes and I've had a lot of failures. I've failed more than I've succeeded in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've started things I've never finished. I lost passion for things along the way. I realized, okay, why was I doing this? And it was not until, I want to say, last year when I first started studying, NLP. I was actually introduced into the coaching world, that I really understood what congruency is. Now, in speaking with you in our brief conversations, you've known congruency, it seems, your life, like your whole
Mm-hmm.
path. And so I wonder how you might describe getting to that place where you knew what it was you wanted to do, you know where you want to go, and you just go the course. So can you share that with us? Because I mean,
Yeah, it's you have to go through a lot of difficulties. I mean, part of the issue I have with marketing, I'm not saying marketing's bad, but part of it is it's like they pave this perfect route that you can take and become successful in. And the truth of the matter is there is no perfect route. You have to create your route. And your route has to be hard. There's going to be difficulties and there's going to be time of struggle, but there's also going to be times that get easier, and you're going to have a little bit of both. And I say to people, find a way to create energy with your negative situations and your positive situations. My biggest thing is looking back at what I've dealt with, being the only black kid in an elementary school, in a middle school. That was tough at first, because when you're
well, forgive me. The
oh, you're good.
parallels here is the parallels tripping me out because I I was like one of only 3 white people at my junior
Yeah,
high when I went to Montgomery Junior High. I mean,
yeah.
it was blacks, Laotians, and Mexicans,
Uh-huh.
and I'm the white dude. I got my ass kicked. I can't tell you. The first day I showed up at school, I got my ass kicked. So please forgive me. I'm
It's
just
tough.
like the
Oh no,
parallels
I,
are.
I completely get it, and it's one of those things where, as a kid, kids want to be like other kids. It's not about being different. It's about being like everybody else. The more you can be like everyone else, the better it is. And so I couldn't be like everybody else because my skin color was different. So it was one of those things that they could see as a difference. Now, this isn't to say everyone is different. That's the funny thing about it. I just got to see my differences very early on. And I could have used those as my strengths, or I could have used those as my weaknesses. That was the option that I had to take. And I had 2 parents who loved me, who cared for me. My brother and sister, we all got along. We were a really tight-knit family. And so having that gave me the strength to just be me, no matter what. And so I was kind of forced to be me at an early age. Some people are not forced to be that way. They talk about how people wear masks. And it's kind of true. Like when we get into society, we'll wear a mask. But when we're by ourselves, it's like, well, I didn't really think that, or I really wanted to say this, or I wanted to do this. And we handicap ourselves because we have to be like the rest of society. And so having that experience, it was just kind of like, well, I got to be me anyway, because I'm already clearly different from everybody else. So I took that and I took it as a positive instead of a negative. And the truth is, everybody goes through this experience. People just go through the experience at different times. I got to go through the experience at a very young age. But everyone gets into that, what do I really want to do? What am I passionate about? What do I love about life? What will fulfill me? And when you go through that and you answer those questions and you start living your life, and I mean really living your life, you start taking responsibility and realizing how much power you really have over your destination. That's why my message is about greatness within. Be your best you. Be your best you, because your best you is going to bring out the best in the people that are around you too.
You can only be you anyway, right? I mean, at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, the people pleasing, the figuring out, okay, well, who am I? I know thyself is like the most powerful question that anyone can ask of themselves. I used to identify myself, and this is just my own experience, but I used to identify myself with the amount of wealth that I could create, my
Mm-hmm.
family, my wife, my children, all of these things that, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman. I was a real estate broker, a developer, an entrepreneur, an investor, all these things. And somewhere along the way, uh, I'd lost myself. I'd like literally lost my identity. I knew it was like there was nothing left. I got to this place where there was like nothing left of me. Everything that was left of me was in the palm of my hand. And if you sneezed, you would blow it all away.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the middle of all that, regaining and finding myself in like the ashes. And now not everybody's got, and why do I say this at this moment in time? Because here I am with you, a man who has never had to hit that bottom, if you will. You talk about hard times. You talk about, you know, forging a path in struggle at times, but never having to hit that bottom. And I guess for me, in sharing this message is you don't have to go there. You don't have to go to these to the depths, to the darkest corner, to your darkest corner, to experience knowing yourself. And I guess that's what I'm asking you is like, okay, how do you get to that place, Clifford? How do you get to that place where, because you've mastered some things. You
Yeah.
when we talk about unconditional love, and
Mm-hmm.
not many people can really truly identify with what unconditional love really is. And just because I've spent a few moments with you on the phone and even on a Zoom call, and I know that you know what unconditional love is. I know that you know what holding space for another is. Not everybody understands those things. And so how do you get to that place and still be this warrior, right? Because you're a warrior.
Yeah, the biggest thing is you can't go there
Me
without
too,
having some
Kristen.
pain. Yeah, you definitely, there's got to be some pain involved. And some of the pain that I saw was through deaths from family members. Like, so I've had a couple friends who died young. I've had family members who have died young. And I take that in. I think it's important to kind of take those moments in and really respect them. So when it really comes down to it is, even though I haven't personally gone rock bottom, would probably be the best way of putting it, like I felt what real pain feels like. And understanding what real pain is, you can understand what truly loving something is as well. And so to have unconditional love, it's almost like it's easy to love someone who loves you, but what if you had the compassion to love someone that hated you because you knew they had more in them? You knew there was something special in them. And in order to get there, you have to be tested. It comes down to the test. You can't not have the test. That's like telling someone to bench press a certain amount of weight and they've never bench pressed before. They have to go through some trials and error. Death is a powerful motivator if you allow it to be. Death scares a lot of people too, though, because it's like they want to avoid it as much as possible. But the truth of the matter is it's going to happen to all of us. And we have to understand that. Some people might, it's kind of taboo to even talk about, but it's one of those reasons why I do as much as I can, why I live as much as I can. I live as much as I can because I know I will not be forever. I am not forever. I am not eternal. The only thing that goes on is not this body itself, not the flesh, but the moments that I've created, the experiences that I've shared with other people. The spirit will carry on, and it carries on through memory. And I think that's where I've really kind of come with, that's why I kind of see everybody as we are all on equal playing field. Everybody has the strength to do it. Even if they don't have the habits to necessarily do it, they have the ability to do it. And sometimes knowing they have the ability to do it is the start. But life is going to kick everybody. And it's up to you to decide how you're going to take it. And if you can love a person properly, the odds of them taking it correctly is much higher.
What I hear you saying and this is just my interpretation, and Kristen, thank you for chiming in. You know, we all needed this. You're 45 years, and I imagine you've seen a lot of death. Chris says she's seen a lot of death since she was 7.
Mm-hmm.
She also made some other comments. She was thankful for the topic. So thank you for chiming in. This is a time to participate. So we're here for one another. When I hear you say we're not eternal, there's a challenge within me because I see us as eternal beings. Now, physically, this finite body, this moment, all there is the now, as opposed to, I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid to die. I'm more afraid not to live at this moment. I'm more afraid not to live. Because there's the unique you, right, Clifford, that is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? In your way of thinking, do you really believe that we're not eternal beings, or that there's part of you that is not eternal, or are you just speaking about the physicality, like as we age as human beings?
Yeah, I speak of the flesh. So
Okay.
the spirit's eternal. The spirit's
Yeah.
eternal. The thoughts people have of us are eternal. The energy is eternal. And that's why, like, my whole thing is, like, bring light into the world. I just don't want to bring darkness into the world. My goal is to bring light into the world. The light continues to move, and it continues to cycle, and it continues to spread. But the physical skin, this, the ability to touch, that is not eternal. That will go away. And so
Yeah.
it's something you have to respect.
Yeah, and yet you respect it, yet walk into a cage and get smashed and smash somebody else, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Yeah.
that's the gauntlet, if you will. Forgive me, but man up. I've been places, I've done things that many men can say that they've never done, nor will they ever do. Like crab fishing in Alaska, and just picking up and going, not knowing where you're going, just not having a plan, not having it all figured out, but just you go. You end up in the middle of winter in Kodiak, Alaska. Who does that, right? Still,
Yeah.
who goes into a cage with another man that wants to kill him? I mean, it's like, okay, who wrestles the Bering Sea? And so there's this wildness about us that has this wild side as men, as human beings, that it's like to go tame the untamed, and whatever spark that is in you and another, it's like it's just something that you have to do.
Yeah.
Would you say is it like something inside of you that is more
Yeah.
than you that has to go do that?
There's so we have both things in our life, the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine, and there's almost like balance is important. So balance is a necessity. And what people sometimes do is they say one thing's right and one thing's wrong, when the truth is there's a virtue right in the center, and then there's the vice on both sides. So you can have a vice. So for instance, I get kind of tired of hearing nice guys finish last. Pushovers finish last. Nice guys don't finish last. You can be a nice person and still finish. But if you're so nice that you take everything away from yourself and you do just for the rest of the world and you do nothing for you, then yes, you are going to finish last. But if you are a nice person and you stand up for your morals and you know what you stand for and you help other people, to me, that is a nice person. And that doesn't mean that person's going to finish last. So it's a tanglement of figuring out that balance, what works best for you.
Yeah, I have what you're talking about. So like in MMA and boxing and any kind of sports, and our whole society is ingrained in competition, right? And competitiveness. And I've taken the stance, and I coached baseball. I mean, I coached baseball for 7 years. My kid, I stood in the stand and go, go, I mean, come on, pushing on the sideline. And whether it was soccer, whether it was baseball, whatever, from the sideline, watching basketball, watching them play. I mean, this is just ingrained in our society. And there's this whole methodology that I got to beat you, right? I got to be better than you. I got to do that. And I was wondering if you can speak to that, because are you really trying to be better than somebody else? And what I'm getting at, Clifford, is because, and I'll just tell you what I believe straight up, is that this is the age of collaboration, right?
Yeah.
This is, in my mind, it's no longer the age of competition. Now, how you put that into sports, how you bridge that gap, I'm going to leave that to you, because I think
so
that you.
We got, collaboration's important. Collaboration is very important, and then you also have competition. But you can collaborate within competition too. It's like if you take two legends of the sport and you put them in the arena together. Now a legendary fighter is not competing with anyone else but themselves. They are just looking to be their best self on that day. They don't care about the other person. They're focused on themselves. So if you take two legends on the sport and you get a great fight, everybody wins. So the winner wins because he won. You got the fans, they win because they got to see a great fight. And the loser wins too because he's competing with himself. So he knows I can be a better version of myself next time. That in order to be successful, in order to get great, you have to go through some failures too. So they don't take that as a negative. That's a positive. They need to know where they stand. And when they know where they stand, they can move forward. And so that is a form of collaboration in and of itself. Everybody's winning in that process, even with two men or women fighting.
Is there always a fight going on internally? Is life about a fight?
Yeah, life is struggle. Like life has struggle. Struggle is not a bad thing. It's almost like you can take what you've been given and say this is a bad thing, or say what am I going to do with what I have. It's the same thing as a great poker player. They never know what cards they're going to get. They're great poker players because they know how to work with what they have. And as human beings, the people that I coach, there's the one distinct difference between the successful and the unsuccessful. The successful focus on what they can control and do what is necessary to get to where they need to go. The unsuccessful will complain and say it's not fair and talk about, well, if I had this, this, and this. And it really does come down to you have to be resourceful. You have to be resourceful, not have resources. Because even if you were given all the resources, if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to win, ever. And so
Mindset.
Yeah, mindset's 90% of it.
Yeah,
In
mindset
anything
is
that you do.
critical component. I mean, you go in knowing whether you're going to win or lose. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you've before you step into that arena. And I guess for me, I've never stepped into that arena. I'm not a, what I say, I'm a lover, not a fighter. You know, like
Yeah.
I've had my scraps in school, but that was to the extent of it. I remember. I mean. Yeah, it's not even worth talking about. It's but the internal fight. Go ahead.
Yeah, even with what you're talking about, I think everybody's got a fighter in them. Like we have all these voices that talk to us, right? So to pretend that a fighter only has one specific voice, that's not possibly true. We have several voices talking to us. We have voices telling us, you know, you want to eat that pizza. And then you have the other voice saying, you can do better than that and you got to get ready for this. You know what I mean? Like you have all of those voices struggling for your attention. And so it comes down to which voices are you going to listen to? Which ones are you going to listen to? Are you going to listen to the ones where you're like, screw it. I'm going to keep eating pizza. I don't care. Or are you going to listen to the other voice that says, we got to get to work. You said you were going to do this, so let's do it. And I'm telling you, on the other side, no one regrets doing that. No one. I've been a trainer for over 16 years. And I've never had anyone say, Cliff, I wish you never would have put me through that. I'm going to put people through difficult situations, and they will thank me on the end. They will. But you have to let them know there's something on the other end too. And that's where people will get themselves in trouble, where they're like, I've tried this, I've tried that, and there's a new guru every day. So I kind of get it too, where people have the struggles that they have because people give them promises that they can't fulfill. And then when they don't fulfill them, then they're just beaten and broken and they kind of give up. So my thing is spread the light, give truth to people, and let them know the greatness that they have. But with greatness takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. Nothing ever does. But it does happen in a moment.
So when you take on, let's say people are coming to you to train them, and I imagine you turn people away?
No, not usually, but I don't actually, I'm now starting to kind of actively go out, but I'm really, really tight knit with the clients that I do train. I have a couple of old new clients who used to train with me back in the day, and they're coming back to train with me again. My whole thing is I don't go out to really sell that much because I already have my set field of clients. Now that I'm trying to expand a little bit more, I'm trying to figure out the best way to balance this correctly because you only have a limited amount of energy. And I put a lot of energy into the people that I work with. I put a lot of
Well,
energy
I
into
guess
them because I know they're going to put a lot of energy back into me when I do that.
I guess my point in asking that question is when you look at people, when we talked about
Mm-hmm.
bridging that gap between unconditional love and, this MMA world champion fighter, and you
Yeah.
holding space for people in that place and seeing someone, you have to see the finished product, right? I mean, when you
Mm-hmm.
visualize somebody else comes to you and they say you're seeing their highest self,
Yeah.
how did you get to the place where I'm imagining that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but are you seeing that everyone's highest self when you walk out into the world
Uh-huh.
and you project this unconditional love? Are you seeing everyone in their as their highest selves? What are you paying attention to, Clifford? How did you do that? How do you manage to do that?
Honestly, I think it's a I think it's a gift that I have. I'm gonna be some people run fast, some people punch hard, I love big. That's my gift. That is my gift. And so when I see people, I've always seen them at their greatest self.
Okay, because
I
so
wish I
this
could.
is. Would
I
you
know.
think?
But I will tell you this though. See, the cool thing about it, because it's a cool gift too. When I do it, other people will naturally do it around me. That's what's really cool about it. So when I lift people up, they want to lift other people up.
Hmm. I couldn't agree more, but it's like a little different than a lot of the movies you see. You're walking around, you see the tough guy, chump, look at that chump, right?
Yeah,
I mean, look at that
yeah.
chump. Who does he think he is? But yet, here you are, this world champion fighter, and you're like, yeah, I see the highest ideal of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see the true you. I
yeah.
see the real you, not the one behind all the masks. And that's what I was getting to is in wanting to peel
I mean,
back this onion
that's the
because
funny thing because it's so. This is how cool people are. Really, really cool. They really are because they have their mask, and I get it. They get nervous. There's a reason people have masks on. They're afraid of ridicule. They're afraid of judgment. They're afraid of all of these things, whatever negative things they may have. And rightfully so, because if someone tells their deepest secrets, that means people can use their deepest secrets on them.
uh,
But the truth is, and this is what I explain to people, the only person who can really use your deepest secrets on you is yourself. And you have to be able to openly tell your secrets, I believe, because then it frees you. It frees you from caring as much. Like you're like, okay, some people are going to like me, some people not so much. And yeah, I like everybody. Some people have worse secrets than others. And I'm not there to throw their laundry around because it's their laundry. It's for them to do it. It's for them to figure out when they want to put it out there. But when I do that, they actually tell me more because they realize, yeah, I'm not that person to tell you like, oh my God, oh, why do you do all right, we're human. We make mistakes. But if we make mistakes, that means we can learn from it too.
what's your greatest takeaway from MMA that you bring into your coaching?
So there's 5 steps that I've went through on being a combination of having success and having happiness. If you follow the 5 steps, and I won't go into the detail of the 5 steps, but you'll get where you need to get in life. You will absolutely get where you need to get in life. My greatest takeaway is things are going to get hard, but the human spirit can always be harder. Always remember through your darkest times, there's still some light somewhere. If you just remember that, everything will come together. I say the opportunities are in the obstacles. Life gets hard, fights get hard, things get hard. They're going to. It's going to happen. And if you don't see light, all you'll see is darkness. And when you see that darkness, it comes hard and it comes fast. And it's hard to get out of that when you're really in there. But if you just keep looking deep enough and you believe there's some light somewhere, you'll find it through the darkest times. Like I get that would probably be my biggest takeaway, is knowing there is something to learn from your most difficult challenges.
Oh yeah, the hardest lessons that I've learned have come at the expense of my ego, have come at the expense of being just brutally honest, whether that's with my wife and my kids, and just being congruent, being truthful, right? I mean, that was the hardest thing I ever did. When you talk about secrets, you lay that stuff out. You say, oh yeah, I did this. By the way, I'm sorry, but this was my, please forgive me. This was my experience. Whew, man. I've got this, I take 100% responsibility, not for just myself, but everyone that I encounter now. Like, if you've shown up in my world, it's because, well, you're inside my universe, and there's nothing really outside of me, and this is just my truth, right? So people can say, "Oh, dude, he's freaking whacked. He's way out there." But when I say it's all inside you, right? It's all inside of you. It's 100%. It's like this perception is projection. So what you are thinking, what you are feeling shows up in your world, in your physical reality. It manifests in the craziest ways. I mean, it just, and sometimes it's kind of spooky, can scare the shit out of you. And you go, wow, I created that. Oh my gosh. And then you start taking that, hey, what's up, Jonathan? Thanks for showing up, brother. And you start, you can play the blame game. You can play the shame and the guilt, which will crush a man, will crush anyone. Yeah. If you live in shame and you live in guilt and you live in like responsibility, like, oh, I made that happen. You got to let yourself off the hook. Number one, right here. I'm just here to tell you that, because that'll kill you. And stuff is just stuff. It's just an experience. It's neither good nor bad. It's neither right nor wrong. It just is. And so, I mean, I don't know how else do you compare that to when you're punching a guy in the face in the ring and you're just trying to, it's like, man, I want to win this fight. I'm not going out. I'm going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And if that human being is that, now, if it were for survival for me, okay, I'm there with you, man. I mean, give me a spear, give me whatever, I'm gonna. Yeah. And then, but to do this as sport, that's like, okay, I'm just trying to. I accept it. I love you. God, I love you. I mean, you and I are going to be incredible friends for life.
Yeah.
I know this. It's there's a deep connection, and then there's this desire for me to understand what in the world would possess a man to go into a cage and fight another man like that and just get the, I mean, I watched your fights, man. That's some brutal stuff. So you're taking this to the edge, and yet you still have this kind, soft heart. And so that's kind of where I'm going with this today. It's like you're bridging this gap, yet you still go into that cage and you come out. How do you set your mind how do you reset your mind continuously? What is it that you're doing to reset your mind to get to maintain that place, to maintain that space?
Well, I will say as a fighter, I was never the fighter that I needed to be for fighting. I've seen other fighters who they are about hurting people. Like absolutely my goal is to hurt that person. For me, it was for the competition. So it's two people signing a contract to compete. And that was actually one of my weaknesses as a fighter, to be completely honest. Like I have fought other fighters who were like, I want to rip this guy's head off. And my thinking wasn't that. It was, well, I'm here to compete with that person. Hmm. And I'm grateful that I had the technical skill and the conditioning to honestly go in there with anybody and fight at a high level. But the only way that I could ever see myself wanting to hurt another individual with intention would be if they were bringing darkness into the world. But I never saw that fighting. So it's one of those things where I was the best fighter that I could be with the tools that I had. But I love the competition of it. It absolutely, because you've heard the saying, be proactive.
Yeah.
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 So being proactive is very important. And then there's times when it might not be the most important thing to do. Sometimes you have to sit back too. Sometimes you have to move forward. Sometimes you have to play offense. Sometimes you have to play defense. That is what life is. And that was the beauty that I had of the sport. Because there's nothing, it's hard enough knowing that you're going to fight another man. But put a schedule in front of you on a specific date. And you're looking at that date. You can't speed it up. So you have to go through the process. And you have to go through the process correctly. And then the day comes and you have to maintain your calmness. You have to go through whatever techniques you have to do to get ready for that fight. It's all these little things that I loved about fighting. That's what I loved about it, is sometimes you can't rush things. It's like how long have you been married for?
What was the question?
How long have you been married for?
It would be 20 years. August, it'll be 20 years. Yeah.
Right. So think about it this way, because I always kind of think this was funny. If your wife is mad, you cannot rush her to become calm.
Oh, hell no.
It's not going to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I spent a lot of weekends going off to the cabins, and I spent, I had a lot of bedrooms in the house too. So yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah.
So when you go, be proactive. You can't be proactive in that situation. You don't have to be reactive.
The only thing I can do is,
but you have to maintain a focus and a calm and figure out the best approach. That's fighting. And that's why I say everybody's a little bit of a fighter in one way or another.
Okay. So you're just talking winning. So what we're talking about is winning the game and not the battle. I used to say this in my brokerage. We'd teach my guys. I'd say, look, I'm going to win the war. We're going to lose a few battles here and there, but we're going to win the war, and this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I want to get this question. Jonathan asked, where does that mindset come from? I'm just going to ask you, Jonathan, clarify your question, which mindset, and we'll get Clifford to answer the question because a little more clearly, but if you can clarify your question. And thanks, Michael. Good to see you guys. Thanks for showing up. Can't stop the tide. It's a great point. Love it. One thing I love about these Facebook Lives, it is interactive. And you were asking me earlier, hey, are we going to do this on Zoom? And the Zoom platform doesn't allow the unless we're inviting them in as a webinar and then broadcasting over. So so the Facebook Live does, allows for that interactive. Hey, Sonia, thanks for showing up. Cheryl Ford. She's tagging somebody to see this. I want somebody to see this.
That's my mom.
Awesome. Yeah, that's good. So this is good stuff. I mean, we're talking about winning the war of life, and pretty much overcoming your fears. This is totally unscripted, guys. There's not like a list of questions. What I do here is really try to just go in the flow, just take it from source, get grounded and centered, and fight for what you love, she says. Love what you fight for. Whew, wow. Yeah, I suppose in a
I think
fight.
Jonathan's asking something. It actually passed by pretty quickly, though.
Okay, so opposed to other guys that want to inflict pain. So going back to he was saying, where does your mindset come from, right? The mindset that you have of not wanting to kill anybody, right? As opposed to the other guys that really want to inflict pain. How do you maintain, where does that mindset come from? Who are you at your core that would allow you to be, to not, to be that, to want to just compete rather than want to rip somebody's head off and maintain your heart space?
That's one, it's already in my nature, and 2 years and years of practice, like a lot of practice. Some of my favorite books are from samurais, warriors, Musashi, and there's one story of a samurai that really sticks with me. And this samurai's master was assassinated, and the samurai was going to assassinate the assassinator. He was out to kill this assassinator. So he ends up finding the guy who assassinated his master, and he unsheaths his sword, and he gets ready to chop the guy's head off. Well, the assassin spits in his face, and the samurai puts his sword back into his sheath, and he walks away. He didn't do anything to the assassin. And what that story means is you stand up for your beliefs because it's the right thing to do, not due to emotion. You don't let your emotions bypass everything. And when he was going to take the assassin out, when the assassin spit in his face, he was going to take him out of anger instead of out of the rightness of the fact that the assassin had killed the master. And that's why he couldn't do it anymore. So the second you let your emotions dictate the way you respond to things is when things get really dangerous. And that's what I always practice on.
This is the magic, okay? Now we're 45 minutes into this, and you got straight to the magic.
Yeah.
When we're dictated by our emotional response, right? That we're out of control. We're no longer in balance. Yeah. We're completely out of balance. We're just focused on, thank you, Jonathan, for asking the question. Thank you for clarifying this, because this brings us to the point. So how do you get centered, balanced continuously so you're not responding out of emotion? Because I think I go back and I say we're all addicted to something, right? I mean, whether it's emotions, alcohol, drug, whatever it is, there's some form of, getting from pain to pleasure, getting to that state of where there's just ease, right? Not dis-ease, but just ease, just to where it's, you're in that flow, whatever it takes to get there. Oftentimes we get in life, humans with human beings, even though we're spiritual beings having a human experience, we are still biological in this bodysuit, and it has needs and desires and functions, right? And there are things that you can do in your body to calm your spirit, to be at that place where you're neutral, where
Yeah.
you're neutral, and you can begin to get, what I say, download from source, from God, the creator, whatever it is for you, the universe, that inspiration, that inspired thought that is when you're in that flow, and then everything's just magical. And it's not even, it becomes effortless, even
Hmm.
in the struggle. Have you had that experience?
Yeah, you're talking about the flow state.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this actually it kind of boomerangs back to what we were talking about, having unconditional love. Well, you have to go to a really dark place to have that unconditional love. The reason being is you don't know how you respond without being in the dark place.
Mm.
So knowing the darkness, you can't possibly know the light, truly know the light without knowing the darkness. It just won't happen. Because it's like you've never dealt with struggle. And if you've never dealt with struggle, how can you possibly know how you'll respond in struggle? And most people don't respond the best under struggle, but that's only because they don't practice it. The more you practice something, the better you get at it.
Hmm. I know a lot of people that train. Yeah, Jonathan says, indeed, my friend. Michael says, what do you say? Self-confidence. Jonathan said, thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, Jonathan had a question for you. He said, what impact do you want to leave on this planet before you take off to the next?
So, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Now watch close, Jonathan. Watch close, man. All right. So let's talk about your daughter one more time, Rick. Now, now tell me, all right, do you have your picture of your daughter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you see that smile right there, Jonathan? That's all I want. Life's about living in the moment. You go into your futures, but light is just about constantly just giving the best amount of light you can for yourself and for the people you surround yourself with. So that's what I want to leave before I go on to the next world, is just give people smiles and joy. Put light in their life.
Yeah, we get so attached. Okay, so what he did, just for those of you that are completely got blindsided here, Jonathan and I had a conversation and a few days ago, and we were talking about Happy Place, and I was talking, and he asked me about my family and my daughter. I had this picture in my mind of my youngest, Hannah, when I was holding her as a baby, and I was just holding her, just feeding her, and because she came out pretty preemie, and doctor said fatten her up, and so I did. That's what I did. I just fed that little monkey, and she's the baby. She knows she's the baby, and everybody is. The rest of the kids have just accepted that, what, this one's going to get, the other two, they got a little harder because dad probably wasn't at his, he wasn't at his best. I didn't know what I didn't know, right? I mean, you don't know what you don't know. And the, each one of my kids, a friend of mine, Paul Young, the author of The Shack, um, told me one time, he said, which one of your kids do you love the most? He asked me that question, and I was like, oh crap, what a question.
Mhm.
And he answered it for me. He said, the one I'm thinking of right now, the one that's in your presence in that moment. It's like
Mhm.
you love them all equally, and it's
Yeah.
not even, it's what's on your mind and your heart in that moment in time. And we try so hard to be fair and
Mhm.
think, oh, just be, right?
Yeah.
Just be. And like you said, if you can get to that place where you're bringing that kind of joy, bringing that kind of love into that space and being the light, if you will. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Edwin, my brother from Maui, Edwin, aloha, brah. Aloha, I love you. Give Auntie Pete Ilani a big hug for me, okay? Give her some love. So thanks for showing up. Thanks for showing up, Missy. So this is good stuff, man. This is really good stuff. Thank you for spending time with me tonight.
Yeah, most definitely. It was a pleasure. A lot of good people in here too.
Oh yeah, they're all good. They're all perfect. And this is the thing.
Yeah.
It's nobody's broken. You know,
Yeah.
anybody that says, and this, I'm just going to say the way I feel. It's like there's nobody, you're all perfect already. There's nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing more to be except you as you are. And the moment that you accept that, the moment that you know, there's nothing you got to do, nothing else you got to be. Just be you. There's nothing to
Yeah.
fix. There's no guru out there that's going to fix you. Okay, you're
Mm-hmm.
already perfect as you are. There are people, the guru's inside you, so it's all inside of you. You have
Mm-hmm.
everything you need in this moment in time, and then people will show up in your life as a light, right? Just like Clifford, they'll show up as a
Absolutely.
light, a bright, shining light, and lead you to what you already know. You already know this. You already know. It's already inside you. So that's
Yeah,
my
very true.
takeaway. It's like, so I just take you as a mirror, and I will be happy with my reflection and be gracious and thankful for all that you are, because you're wonderful, you're beautiful, and you're kind. And Sonia says people need to hear that more often. Beautifully said. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your man, your beau. So I'm grateful for his time. Okay, where's the next fight? Jonathan wants to know. Where's the next fight? Where do I go to the next fight?
So I actually retired. I had to make a decision when I had my son, and that's where I was just kind of like, a part of me still wanted to compete, but it was like, you got to deal with the consequences of competition too. So with that, I was just kind of like, all right, it's probably time for me to hang it up and take as much time as I can with my son, because fighting is not easy. So you take several months to get ready for a fight. And I just wouldn't have the time to spend with him, and he's growing so fast as is. Like, I'm just going to enjoy the moments that I have with him.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff. Well, that means you got more time for coaching, more time for
Yeah.
training, more time for
Yeah.
people showing up in your life that you get to help with along the way and
Mm-hmm.
lead the way. So
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so
Thank
much
you.
for
I
spending
appreciate
time.
it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And if people want to reach out to you and connect with you, just connect with them here on this page, or is there another place you'd like them to go? I'm connected
Yeah.
with you in.
So I'm pretty good here. On Messenger, I'm a little bit. I'll be a little more responsive on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, but my main channel is my YouTube channel, just because I don't know. I'm a big fan of video. This is my first time being on a live video for Facebook, and it's pretty cool. I might do it a little bit more often from time to time, but I really I've been having a blast on my YouTube community. They're just
I,
really, really good people. I'm yeah, I couldn't ask for a better community, honestly. Like what they're
Clifford,
doing and where they're going. Yeah, I
drop
had one
drop
person
a
actually.
link.
Okay, I actually had one person lose 50 pounds in, I don't know how many months it took them. It was like 7 or 8 months just from watching the YouTube channel. Like, that's what mindset is at the end of the day. When a person believes in someone else, sometimes they've never had anyone believe in them before. So they have that opportunity to have someone actually believe, and then they'll start taking action in their life.
What I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll grab a link from your YouTube channel and I'll drop it into the comments so people can go and definitely, subscribe to your YouTube channel. He's got some incredible videos out there. Those clips I took from his YouTube channel, I just put them in there. So if you saw the precursor to this, and in closing, I want to just thank you, and I want to remind you next. Yeah, my pleasure and my honor. But I want to remind our viewers to tune in next week, next Tuesday, here on Live Masters TV. Thank you, Mike Chavez, for Live Masters TV. If you want to learn how to go live, start doing more live videos, join our private group, Live Masters. It's a private group where you can feel free to come. You won't be judged. We'll just be there to support you and hold you up. It's a private group, so it's not out in your public channel. You won't have to worry about, all of the people, what people are going to think and feel and say. You can just be free to be you and answer the question of the day. And then next week, Live Masters TV. Oh, yeah, our honor, our pleasure. Thank you, Wendy. Next week, Live Masters TV, I have a special guest, Diana Icola. And Diana and I spent 2 hours with her today, and she hooked me up to a monitor, just a clip on my ear, and it measured my heart coherence. She is trained in Psych K, heart math, EFT, hypnosis, emotion code, Ho'oponopono, and NLP. So this gal has got some stuff up her sleeve. It's going to be pretty intense next week. I'm actually talking about doing some seminars with her, doing some on heart math. And I think that was what, today is like heart math. This is like being able to bridge the science behind what we're talking about, what Clifford and I are talking about here tonight, and getting into that heart center space. The actual science and the physicality of seeing the change in action on a monitor. This is going to be cool. So, yeah. So stay tuned. Plug in next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Live Masters TV. And I just thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you. You're wonderful, beautiful, and kind. Thank you, Clifford. Whoa. All right, good night. And I'll make a recording of this and I'll drop it to you. I'll download it and I'll send it to you. So yeah, thank you, Scott. Thanks for showing up. And I'll send it to you in a Google Drive so you can drop it onto your YouTube channel if you'd like.
Awesome. Much appreciated. All
right. Love you, brother. We'll see you soon. See you on the call in yeah. We'll see you on the call too in direct from source, right? Coming up in a couple of days.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Aloha.
All right, brother. You take care. It was a pleasure meeting everybody. You guys have a good night.